cellular telephony. So as we are using your cell phones, so it is very important to know what is the actual architecture of how you can use your mobile stations or your mobile phones in order to communicate. Previously it was landline, right? So your cellular telephony is continuously being upgraded, and we are in the 4th generation now, which is the 5G. The work is going on in the 5th generation of your cellular telephone. Currently we are in 4th generation, and cellular telephony is important because it will tell you how your data can be transmitted with respect to your stations which are not fixed. So based upon this, we'll start our discussion. So this is the architecture of your cellular telephone. Here the basic unit of your cellular telephony is cell. So it can consist of two terminology: base station and mobile stations. Mobile stations is nothing but your cell phones. Your base station is your tower or antenna which can be used to send your wireless signals. So base station is, it's a landform, that is it is statutory or it is fixed, whereas this particular nodes can wander around between these cells and it is not fixed. So this is fixed, whereas these nodes are not fixed. And the topology or each of the basic unit of your cell telephony is called as cell, which uses the shape of hexagon. Now this particular cells, like this, n number of cells will be connected to your mobile switching centers. Why do you require switching center? Because your mobile node can change its range. It is very important to have your mobile switching center which can shift the cells from, say, this particular cell to the corresponding cell as and when you move around. So next is your public switched telephone network, PSTN. So this was the first network which was used to communicate using your telephones, PSTN. This is used for your stationary phone. Till now this is the unit for your communication using your cell phones or landlines. So this will take an account of how many cells are there, range, as well as how many mobile phones or your mobile stations can be supported by each cells is decided by your public switched telephone network. So this is the architecture of cellular network or your cellular telephony. This is used to provide communication between two moving units. Here the moving units is called as your mobile stations, and you have one stationary or the fixed unit called land unit or your fixed unit. It is also called as fixed unit. A service provider must be able to locate and track caller. So these are the steps. So whenever you get a call, what happens behind us? You'll be having a service provider who will be able to locate and track who has called that particular number, and based upon that he has to find out a channel which is free for communication. If he finds out a channel which is free for communication, then a channel can be established between two persons who are trying to communicate, and this transfer of channel information has to be updated from your PSTN to your base station. So as and when a caller moves out of that particular range of cell, there should be an handover between that particular cell to the next cell which is available for communication. So to make this tracking possible, you can divide a particular region into so many cells. For example, if I take a range, for that particular range, what you will do is you will divide that whole range into n number of cells, and each cells will contain one antenna as well as an solar powered network station in order to form the topology. So this is the functionality of each base station. So each base station will have an antenna, and it also has a solar powered network station in order to check how many mobile stations are connected to that particular base station. So each base station will have a switching center which is used to switch or hand over the channel to the next cell. So this is called as your mobile switching center, and it is a computerized center which is used for connecting the call or recording the call or finding the information in the channel, even billing. So next, when I say a cell which is hexagon in shape, it is of no fixed size. It can either increase or decrease depending upon the population. For example, if I say you are going to a rural area, so in that case, if you find out, okay, the number of mobile stations which requires your internet or 4G is very less, in that case, the 4G network that is required for that particular area can have an cell which is of a reduced size. Whereas in urban areas, many of them will use all the services or your internet services. In that case, your number of cells can be of increased size. So what is the typical radius of each cell? So typical radius is 1 to 12 mi. So based upon this radius, you can form the cells, and each cells are arranged adjacent to each other, which is covering a particular range of frequency. Next is, so if neighboring cells cannot use the same set of frequency. One more rule is, whenever you want to reuse a particular frequency, if you have say n cells which are there for a particular area or a particular range of frequency, one thing that you have to notice, your neighboring cells cannot use same set of frequency. Why? Because there can be some interference between those two cells. So in order to avoid this noise or interference between the boundaries, what you can use is, you cannot use immediate cell. For example, if I have two cells next to each other or adjacent to each other, those two cells should not use same frequency for their communication. Later on, after a particular one cell gap or a two cell gap, you can reuse the same frequency. So this is the principle of frequency reuse, that is, no two adjacent neighboring cells can communicate with the same frequency. If in case if they communicate with the same frequency, there can be some noise that can be involved. Example for this would be your crosstalk. So whenever you are speaking, so there can be an anonymous person who is there within your call and listening. So this happens due to the frequency reuse principle. As far as possible, your your base station, the people operating the base station will try to avoid this frequency reusing factors and uses unique set of frequency between the adjacent cells. So when a pattern is repeated in the frequency, it can be repeated in different fashions. So let me take an example. See here, this is the reuse factor. So as I said, all these cells are arranged for the particular range. So what I'm saying is, whenever I'm saying the two adjacent cells, so in this example, we are using 4 different frequencies. So the adjacent cell, for example, between these two cells, I cannot use 4, 4 or 4, 4 or 1, 1, 3, 3, all right? So the adjacent cells cannot have same frequency. But see here you have 4. So the next adjacent to 4 is 2 and 1. Next I can reuse the pattern 4. Similarly, here I can use the pattern 4. You say the reuse factor is 4 if and only if there is one adjacent cell between the frequencies. And you can say, for example, here you assume 7. And we are trying to find out the reuse factor of 7. So 7 is separated by 2 cells here, right? See here, in this case, if we find out the reuse factor of 4, your adjacent cell is having a gap of 1 cell here. Whereas if I take 7 for this particular example, the reuse factor of 7 is 2 here, right? 2 cells. For example, if I take 5, again, there are 2 cells before using 5. See here, 2 cells before using 5. So these are the 2 patterns, reuse patterns that can be used between the cells. So there are certain patterns that can be repeated or in which the frequency can be reused. The number of patterns or cells reused depends upon how near or how far your mobile stations are there with respect to the available frequencies. So here we have seen example for reuse factor 4. In reuse factor for 4, when we found out only 1 cell is separating the same set of frequency. Whereas in the pattern 7 or reuse factor 7, 2 cells are being separated for using the same set of frequencies. See, I'll repeat again. For reuse factor of 4, there is 1 cell which is separating the use of same frequency. Whereas for the reuse factor of 7, there is 2 cells. See, before reusing the same set of frequency, there is a gap of 2 cells. Similarly, even here, if I want to use 1, there is a gap of, say, 2 cells. So this is about reusing patterns of the frequency. So once we know the architecture, cell, the basic terminologies of mobile stations and base station, next is how transmitting happens between the cells. So what is the first step? In order to place the call, you will enter phone number, right? With the 7-digit number with a code or a 10-digit mobile phone number, and you will press the send button or the call button. So what happens internally is whenever you do this process, the mobile station will scan the cell. So when it scans the cell, it will come to know to which band your cell belongs to or which range of frequency your cell belongs to. Once it comes to know that particular information, it will find out a channel with a very strong signal, and once it finds out the channel, it will send the data, that is your phone number, to the closest base station. So for that particular base station, for the closest base station of the channel, it will check how many mobile stations are connected to that particular base station. So base station now comes to know, okay, this particular number is identified in this particular area and it is in the cell 1 of, say, the network. And there are, say, other 4 mobile stations connected to that particular base station. So this both base station will now find out a channel with a very strong signal which can be used. So in this case, what happens? You have your MSC that helps to find out a communication channel. Once this channel is established between the parties, so your mobile station will now assign an unused voice channel to the 2 parties which are involved in calling. So in this case, a connection, when it is established, both the cells will now tune into this new channel and communication will begin. So once the communication begins, if it is an mobile station, what happens? As and when you are moving, your range of frequency would be changed, right? At the receiving end, what you will do? So suppose I have called a particular mobile number, I am the sender, and the other person to whom I have called is the receiver. At the receiver side, again the location is tracked first. Once the location is tracked, it will send a query signal. Why query signal is required? In order to check whether that particular number that you have called is free or not. So query signal will get an acknowledgement saying whether that particular host or the device with the mobile number is free or not. If it is not free, then it will send you the busy tone. If not, it will say, okay, this particular station is ready for receiving the signal. So this process of querying the signal, identifying the location and bringing that particular cell to the communication is called as paging. So once paging is done, the mobile station can assign a ringing signal for the other party or other person who is trying to call. So once the ringing signal is got to the receiver, he can answer. So if this is the case, in this process, what happens is your mobile switching center will also allocate a new channel for voice communication. So once the other person receives the call, both of them, the both cells will be now communicating with the same voice channel. So next important terminology in your cellular telephony is handoff. So what is handoff? For example, in that case, if I move from one particular range to another range, your base station should transmit that voice channel from one cell to another cell. So this process of transmitting one cell to another cell is called as handoff. The disadvantage of handoff is now once a call is established, the channel could be having a good signal intensity. But whenever there is an handoff between one base station to another base station, there can be some poor signal. So if that is the case, you cannot hear the another what the another party or the another person is speaking. This is due to the network interference or jitter, which can happen from changing your cell from one base station to another base station. So in handoff, you have two types, hard handoff and soft handoff. So whenever a mobile station is communicating with one base station, and if a cell moves from one particular range to another range, it will communicate or it will send the previous base station to the new one. So compulsorily, if you want to shift that, it is called as hard handoff. So in a case of soft handoff, a mobile system can be connected to two or more base stations, and based upon the signal intensity, once it finds out, okay, this signal intensity is okay, correct, then it can leave the previous cell. So that is called as your soft handoff. I'll repeat, hard handoff is one where once your mobile station is out of that particular range, it will hand off the signal to the next cell of the next base station without worrying about the signal intensity and all. This is called as your hard handoff. Soft handoff is a phenomena where your mobile station is connected into two base stations, one from previous cell, one for the next cell. So once it find out, okay, in the next base station, the cell provided has a good intensity or good channel with less noise. In that case, it can no longer support the previous one and it can come out from that particular base station, breaking off the old connection. So this is called as your soft handoff. Next is, as I said, we are in the fourth generation of cellular technology. So the first generation, which was used for voice communication, and it was purely based upon analog signal. So the first phone communication or your landline communication was established in North America using AMPS technology, that is Advanced Mobile Phone Systems, where it was using frequency division, FDMA, that is frequency division multiplexing or frequency division media access, in order to separate your channels and it was communicating with the band of 800 megahertz band. So here you had one base station and several mobile stations, and it was able to connect with the mobile station through the LAN station. This was the shift when your landlines were moving to your cellular phones. Depending upon the base station, mobile station was established, but from mobile station to base station communication, that is the reverse, was not so good. So whenever you call from a landline to a mobile phone, the communication channel was good, but the reverse didn't find the communication good. So it had to get some improvements regarding this. So this give led to the second technology or the second generation of your cellular telephony, but they used two different frequency bands for your first generation. So the first band, that is between 824 to 849, were used to reverse communication. That is, what do you mean by reverse communication? That is, if you want to try from mobile station to base station, it is called as reverse communication, and it was using a frequency of 824 to 849 megahertz, whereas for the forward communication, that is from base station to mobile station, it was using a frequency of 869 to 894 megahertz. See here, two different channels were established. So if you want to communicate from base station to mobile station, it was using a different frequency. If you want to communicate from mobile station to base station, it was using different frequency channel. So it was using FSK for modulation, that is frequency shift keying was used for modulation. So this allowed some delay. So if you have listened to these stories, so whenever our parents, when they used to call, there was a 2-second or 3-second delay to hear and to speak. Why this was happening? This was due to the different bandwidths they were using. So next is your second generation. This was less noise prone. So her development was made in the cellular telephone in second generation. So first generation was purely based upon analog voice system, whereas in second generation they went to a shift of digitized voice over your analog. So this, have you heard of voice over IP? So voice over IP was used for your second generation. So it was using three technology: DAMS, that is digital amps, followed by GSM and IS-92. Any doubts? Were the three technologies they were using. So based upon this technologies, they were using time division media access as well as frequency division media access for your GSM, that is global system mobile communications. It was done in Europe, so it was following an European standard in order to communicate all over Europe. But here it was using duplex communication. Previously it was a simplex communication, right? So in your second generation, they shifted from your simplex communication to duplex communication, and they were using time division and frequency division media access in order to communicate. Next is third generation. So this is the blueprint of your internet mobile, where this in the 3G technology, the internet was also supported in all the handsets. So this is the blueprint of your third generation, where your voice quality was very good when compared to other existing phone network, and even with the voice quality, data rate was also provided in your third generation. It supported both packet switching as well as circuit switching topologies, that it can be called even for the landline, or it can also be called to the mobile phone. Whether it is from landline to landline or landline to mobile phone, that was not a matter in your third generation systems or your 3G generation. And it was using an band of 2 gigahertz and bandwidth of 2 megahertz. This was the first interface which was developed for internet users. So in the fourth generation, so this is one of the wireless technology in your fourth generation. It is also called as 4G grouping or 4G working group. Based upon your 4G technology, you have high network capacity. It has an improvement in your voice as well as your data rate, and there is smooth handoff between the base stations, and it has a seamless connectivity, and even though it has a roaming facilities also depending upon the area that you travel, and high quality data rate as well as your voice quality are there, and it can be interoperated between any of the wireless devices, and your 4G uses packet switching networks. In your first generation, it was your circuit switching. In second generation, it was a shift between the circuit switching and packet switching. Whereas in third generation, both were used, packet as well as circuit switching. Now in fourth generation, all your IP, that is your calls, everything is based upon packet switch networks. So and one more thing, all of them were based on IPv4 protocol, but your fourth generation is based on IPv6 protocol. So whenever it is IPv6, it has better security as well as many devices can be connected to it, and you can optimize the routing capability also because you have soft or smooth handoff between the heterogeneous network. So your devices which are there in fourth generation are capable of providing a multicast security and route optimization capacities. So thank you. Any doubts? So this completes your module 5. Guys, any doubts?
बहुत खेती करता भी करता लिया या फिर उसके बाद कौन सी तो भी ऐप ओपन करती नहीं हाँ तुम्हें स्क्रॉल करती ना टिप में तो बंदे कैसा तो भी हंजे प्रो अंदर ऐप के अंदर रिव्यू ना था तुम्हें ऐसे क्यों हम सब स्क्रॉलिंग साइड वे वो कौन सा चीज कहाँ ना बटन दे वही तो क्या एक्शन लेना
Are able to follow? Doubts? If you don't have doubts, then leave. Sandeep sir?
Ma'am.
What was the count, sir?
Is not audible. And
6x luckiness framework.
so
Yes, sir. The session was okay, sir.
ma'am, it's fine, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Sir, what was the count, sir? I think it was 148 when I saw.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
140. Yes, ma'am.
I'll end the meeting, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.